Violence of war, man. You can't stop them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are indeed ready. I can't believe I left that games are coming up on there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're ready for our first best of 5 of the UCF Gaming Nights LAN. In the top right-hand corner of Cactus Valley, this is our blue Terran player, Begbie. I have no idea what just happened to the music, but it slowed way down. And in the top left-hand corner, this is Spectrum. So, standard opener from Begbie. Nothing too crazy. Actually, no, it's not 100% standard. For some reason, I thought I saw a gas. The gas was actually from our Zerg player, which is definitely a little bit weird. But Spectrum did this in one of the previous series. He was like, hey, you know what? If I go for early lings, early speed, I could probably cancel a command center from one of those pesky Terran players. And, of course, that's going to be partially what he's wanting to do. First Marine going to be coming on out. And Begbie, it's not uncommon for any race to go relatively quick into their next natural expansion. But, you know, if you're on a 4-player map, you would think you're safe. Spectrum is like, you are never safe. Not against me. I'm the guy who makes sure that you aren't safe. And he sees a supply depot. Does he turn around immediately? No, he edges forward a little bit more and just barely on the edge. So he is going to see, all right, you're all walled off at the front. You didn't do anything, you know, you didn't leave any gaps open, which means my lings aren't going to be able to just walk right in. But, of course, he wants to know, is there a command center down here for him to cancel? Oh, there very soon will be. There very soon will be that command center for him to cancel. And there's the push forward. Oh, Spectrum. He knows it so well. He sees it, turns around the Overlord, and he's a happy boy. Begbie, I'm going to be looking for the guy out in the crowd who looks really angry because of what's about to happen. 2 Marines going to be coming on down. They're going to have to be careful depending on how this goes. 2 SCVs could end up going down. But if these Marines are handled well, they can defend against these lings. If they end up getting trapped, that could be absolutely terrible. They do manage to squeeze away, but this could also mean the lings get into the main base. SCV's already pulled, and Begbie is making huge moves to try to stop this ling attack. He's probably thinking that there's more lings on the way. There aren't that many more out on the map heading all the way over here to try to finish off this attack. And oh my word, this command center gets delayed even more. There's 2 Marines on the top of the ramp, which means those lings are going to have a hard time getting up there. But there's the cancel after 4 SCVs went down. Oh, Spectrum. He finds a way. He finds a way. Let's look quickly at that resources lost tab. Oh boy. Oh boy, Spectrum. He knows what's up. He knows how to open on a 4-player map in a tournament scenario. He's not messing around. He is here for the big main prize. That's what he wants. All right, so hatchery, of course, saturated relatively well. Armory now on the way for Begbie. If this was a different game, you know, a less death-filled game, we'd be potentially looking at some sort of Banshee Hellbat timing. And once again, these Terran players, when they get their command center delayed like that, they always miss their next supply depot because, of course, ordinarily, you'd have a bit more time to wait before that supply depot actually is needed, and in this case, he did indeed need it desperately. Begbie needs to make up for the fact that he lost those SCVs early on and that he is a bit behind in this game. Not necessarily impossible to recover from, but he certainly is behind at this point. 20 workers to 36. There's no real way to get around that. He does get the Overlord. Very nice. We'll be able to kill that off. And that's about the only thing that is going his way in this particular match. Baneling Nest and the Lair on the way, as well as that Spine Crawler at the front. Could add on a second Spine Crawler if he's really worried, but Spectrum is confident that he's going to be able to hold this pretty darn easily. The 14 more Lings are more of where he's going to be putting his kind of hope, where he's going to be putting out his strength. He's like, I don't need another Spine Crawler. I need more Lings, which probably is true. Now, we do have Hellbot's going to be stepping on forward. They're targeting down one Queen, but that Queen does get pulled away. Spectrum splitting away his Queens, trying to allow his Lings to actually get on top of the Hellbats to clean them up. The surround is all right, but the Marines doing constant DPS from the back are what's allowing him to break through this. Begbie suddenly has a much better situation than you would have thought as he does step forward on top of a lot of this larva. He's not going for the drones, he's going for Overlords and larva, which gives so much more time for these Lings to step on out of those eggs. That's the high ground where we do have the Banelings holding up, and Begbie, can he split away from them, let the Hellbats do the damage? Well, a couple of Lings, or a couple of Banes do get a connection there, and this is a lot of lost mining time here. Spectrum is now going to be able to push forward and potentially clean this up. No, the Hellbats still stand strong with the Marines as reinforcements. Even this Queen may end up going down because of so little HP. There's the Hellions now coming in. 2 drones do go down. Another 2 will be eliminated as he's moving up, and oh, those drones lining up and getting roasted. That Queen is so low on HP, somehow manages to survive, even though those Hellions could have easily killed that Queen, denying that next creep inject or larva inject, or potentially any creep that that Queen will lay down. And now that Queen has started to regen that HP. 30 workers to 27 SCVs. Those drones, they're good, but they're not as good as mules. And that's the problem that Begbie, or that's the problem that Spectrum faces. He doesn't have that third base. He lost a lot of the defense out at his front. And of course, Cloaked Banshee, because why not? A delayed Cloaked Banshee can sometimes be even more potent than a regularly timed one where the Zerg is maybe expecting it a little bit more. So the question is, can he draw the Zerg out of position so this Cloaked Banshee can actually do some serious damage? Because if the Banshee is just allowed to be on its own, then it probably won't do anything. But if it's coupled up with some Hellbats, or if the Hellbats are distracting, as here, the Baneling's going to be able to clean up some of the Hellbats. 3 of them do still stand, but they're at half HP, which is not what you want as Begbie. Okay, those 2 Hellbats, they're just standing there. And now this Cloaked Banshee is going to have a hard time doing all that much. He might be able to find a nice, like, soft spot here where he can pick away at drones mining gas. But if he steps too close to that, if he steps too close to that Spore Crawler, that's pretty much lights out for this particular Banshee. Needs to be very careful, and goodbye. It was nice knowing you, Banshee, but you are dead. Second Banshee going to be moving in. And again, with no other attack going down with a Spore Crawler, this Banshee may not do all that much. But this Spore Crawler has left a wide open area to it be attacked. But the Mutas are now going to be able to find this Banshee very easily, snipe it down. Unfortunately, Cloak doesn't do anything when there's an Overseer nearby. 1 drone will be the kill count of that Banshee. She's got some tales to tell, but she's dead now, so she can't even do that. 3 racks finishing up for our Terran player. Little bit of a supply block there for Spectrum. But Begbie, he's going to be moving around. He's going to be, of course, trying to defend against these Mutas. He's got Widow Mines. He's not burrowing them just now. Will go for the burrow. A little bit of a trap here with the Mutas. Takes 1 big shot. A second one could have landed, but he pulled back in time. Nice control there by Spectrum not to walk into the second Widow Mine. Only walks into 1, which is, of course, very important if your name is Spectrum. Those Mutas can tank a couple of shots, but you always have to be so careful about those Widow Mines. You run into them when you're not expecting them. One Hellion going to be cutting out on the map. He's going to be looking for that opportunity to maybe deny a drone that's heading over to a base, something like that. Not necessarily going to be looking to do game-ending amounts of damage, but he's going to be able to get the scout off. Might even be able to kill a couple of drones, but, you know, Lings will be here for the defense. Cleans that up nicely. Muta's pulling back away from the offensive front. Stim will be finished up relatively soon, as well as 1-1 for our Terran player. It's going to be significantly delayed. The Zerg player's 1-1 is going to be significantly delayed in comparison to Begbie's. Spectrum. He's the guy to beat. He's the one that, looking at this tournament, is most likely to take it all. So it's up to Begbie. It's up to Havoc, it's up to Blast, and all the other players who are left that I can't think of to be able to take these games. Spectrum needs to be careful. Nearly losing those mutas. Turns back around, will indeed fight against Stim Marines with medevac support. That's a dangerous call to make. That's also a lot of Widow Mines. We'll have to see if it's splash damage town or if it's kill all of the Zerg players town. Either one of those towns could be bad for you, depending on who you are. And certainly, in the past, we've, of course, seen some incredible plays by StarCraft 2 players of either tricking their opponent's Widow Mines into splash damaging the Terran army, or sometimes by beautiful baits of units into Widow Mines. There's one Widow Mine shot, cleans up a couple of Banelings. A couple of other Banelings who did trade against their lives for those Widow Mines. That's a lot of Widow Mines. Oh, all four of them pretty much do fire off. Fifth one goes as well. And I think there's only one Widow Mine who has yet to fire. More Terran Bio now going to be pushing out across the map. A couple of Marines at a time, and by that I mean 12, but a couple of mines, a couple of medevacs at a time as well. So this reinforcement train could keep up for quite some time. Oh, that Widow Mine gets a pretty nice shot off as Mutalisk's going to be looking for the open angle, but this is still a fair number of Marines. And, of course, they've got Stim. They've got medevac support. These are guys who do not want to stop. They just want to stim every day and all day, every day. Combat Shield will help these Marines actually stay alive a bit better against the Banelings, stay alive a bit better against the Stim as well, as that can really do a lot of damage to your own units if you're not too careful. We've certainly seen over-stimmed armies in the past to be easily dealt with by Zerg players. Oh, these Widow Mines are not actually burrowed, which means one of them will go down. The other one may end up getting burrowed. No, it does get eliminated by our Zerg Spectrum, so he's going to be falling back. He almost walked forward with those Banelings and potentially made a big mistake. And, of course, until you knock down these rocks, there can be a lot of miscontrol that happens against the kind of terrain of this map. There's the big Stim backwards, and the splits, are they good enough? Well, they're all right, but now the Banelings are going to be crashing on in, hitting a fair number of Marines, but there's the splits that we're looking for from Begbie. He is going to be pushing on forward, trying to get the kills on those Banelings, but not quite able to get it. Marines, they want to stand up against these Mutalisks, but they're not quite able to do it. The Mutas are in good numbers. The Mutas are forced to push back, though. And these Marines, with medevac support, basically have their own personal medevac in this case. Into the main base go the Mutalisks. They snipe down an add-on and deny that from actually doing whatever it wanted to do. One drop. And a second medevac, which is really just a magnet medevac, is what we would call it if it did anything useful. But no, it's actually just doing nothing. It is doing nothing. That medevac was a misclick. Fourth base now up and mining for Spectrum. It will be up and mining, I mean, in a moment. It's up. It's just, you know, technically not mining. Spectrum is going to have to deal with this Terran force at some point, and it may be around the time when 2-2 finishes. That could be what Begbie is waiting for. He's like, I'm just going to macro up. I'm going to secure my base, but I'm going to more importantly look towards that fourth base. He could very well take this as his fourth base, and then try to push forward at around the time that both of his 2-2 upgrades finishes. +2 attack finishes for both players. +2 armor is still a ways off. That Widow Mine got some good splash damage, but no kills. Oh, Spectrum, he's stepping forward. He's still almost on creep. Baneling's going to be pushing forward, cleans up the majority of those Marines, and there's not a lot of Marines left, but there's quite a few Widow Mines as they get some nice shots off on those Banelings, cleaning up a fair number of them. Marines standing strong against the mutas. This is still quite a few mutalisks. A couple of mine shots could really level that number out some, but a couple of Marines stepped a bit too far forward. And Begbie does need to be careful that he doesn't overcommit. He needs to bring his mines with him so that he's not just facing this giant army of Zerg by himself and without proper mine support. Both of those Marines dying together as friends as mutas now going to be cleaning up medevacs, and this bio army is getting thinned out. But Begbie's reinforcements are what Spectrum needs to be scared of. Here's the Lings going for a big surround, going to be triggering a lot of these mines as well. Some of these Widow mines not quite getting the opportunity to fire off, but Baneling's going to be pushing on forward, and that's a lot of kills for those mines, but a lot more Zerg to push on through. And again, so much of this Terran bio is indeed, Terran supply is indeed in those medevacs, which are notoriously bad at killing mutas, at least in this situation. 64 Lings were just on the production tab as Spectrum is looking to flush out his Ling numbers. Taking a 5th base is definitely a good idea for Spectrum. And I'm actually kind of surprised that there's no additional command center out here for Begbie. Sooner or later, he's going to need that 4th base, especially as his main is pretty much depleted. He would, of course, like to be on that 3-base economy, and he hasn't really had the, well, he hasn't been able to do anything about the 4th base of the Zerg players. So many times, TVZs come down to that 4th base. It's so important for the Zerg to secure it. It's so important for the Terran to kill it. And now we're in the awkward situation of Muta's going to be moving in on a base while Marines and Marauders moving out on the front lines. They're, of course, not back home to defend, which means SCVs do have to be pulled. And those two Overseers are here to make sure that there's no Widowmine shenaniganry, but there's not even that opportunity. Begbie is in a terribly awkward situation. He's going to be kind of fortifying up the front while pulling back with a lot of Marines and Marauders. Those Widowmines getting some nice hits against some of those Lings. And actually, these Mutas stepping up in the wrong way will end up taking a lot of damage. Baneling's going to be pushing on forward, but Ling's going to be looking for the big connections as they do hit a lot of those Marines. A smattering of Mutas do return. They are certainly lower in numbers than they were a moment or two ago. But now the medevacs are also significantly lower in numbers. And always keep in mind that sometimes it's easy to spot Widowmines off creep, but boy oh boy, on creep, Widowmines can be, in some cases, nearly impossible to spot. Depending on what your settings are, it can be very difficult to actually see Widowmines on creep. The Overseers here will provide that vision, but if these Widowmines get some nice shots off, they could clear out that Mutaflock, or at least do a lot of splash damage. Baneling's rolling forward, Marines splitting so far back, and that splash damage from the Widowmines, I'm not sure if it's friendly or enemy. I'm not sure which ones they're hitting more of. Baneling's going to be rolling forward. This isn't a lot of Zerg left, but if they get impacts that they need, those Baneling hits were wonderful, and even the Overseer gets cleaned up by the mine shot, but of course that mine shot was a little bit too little too late, as this Terran bio going to be stepping on forward, snipes the Queen, but there's more Lings and Banes to deal with as Zerg does evacuate the drone. Spectrum is clearing out his 3rd base, or his 4th base rather, as he's going to be looking over towards his 5th base to power his economy. He took the base that's near his opponent, and now he's kind of paying that price with, of course, Terran Siege. Oh, the parade rally, as it's sometimes called. The parade push can be so difficult for a Zerg to deal with. +3 attack is, of course, one of those things that all Terran players are going to be looking for. All Bio-Terran players are going to be looking for that +3 attack and looking to do some more damage when it finally shows up. One Widowmine gets an all-right shot off on those Mutalisks. Not quite enough to clean them up just yet, but keep in mind there's another 5 Widowmines behind that. So this is a lot of potential splash damage on either side, either against Terran or against Zerg. There's the step forward to try to clean up some of the Marines, and there's a huge Widowmine hit. Oh my, that's 11 kills on that Widowmine. So many Banelings have gone down today in both killing Marines and in just getting sniped by Widowmines. And oh, if this is a bait, Begbie could do a lot of damage with splash to this Zerg force as pretty much all of the ground forces gets cleaned up, but the Mutas are still here to rain terror down from the skies. They clean up the Thor, and that's the majority of the ground force, but there's always the reinforcement train for Begbie. He's got so much gas, but no real way to spend it. As he's mostly just producing Marines, he could potentially add on some additional factories, try to do something else, but of course, he wants to play that bio style. So with only one Thor out at a time, he's he's going to be quite mineral starved, which is kind of fine, but only it's fine if he decides to actually take more bases. He could indeed...
Game paused.
he could indeed pause the game. A little bit of lag, it seems like, which is always unfortunate. Oh, all right. So it looks like they're fine. I didn't notice any lag. I don't know if you guys did, but it was looking all good from my end. Lings pushing forward. Army supply relatively even, but of course Widow Mines are what we're going to be looking to swing things into the favor, either into the Zerg favor or more likely into the Terran favor, as splash damage can indeed win games for the Zerg player. Friendly fire onto the Terran bio army can do it. But it's certainly more common to have just a lot of banelings go down. There was a drop, which I'm guessing was aimed at this base of Spectrum. Did end up getting cleaned up quite easily. No problem there. And yeah, this base is ripe for the picking. Woo! It got hit by Mutas earlier in the game, and now it's getting torn apart by Lings. As 7 SCVs go down, number 8 gets eliminated as well. Now the Lings can just run away. That's lost mining time. Of course, 8 SCVs being eliminated. Yeah, you can always trade out SCVs for, well, for Mules, but not for Mutas, as Mutas step forward into the main base, and they're going to be like, hey, remember that command center you didn't get to finish over by the 4th base? Well, just use your main base orbital, as that Marauder does indeed almost get picked off, as the Tech Lab is what really got picked off. And now these Mutas are going to be able to wing their way away. Oh, this Terran bio is so heavily stemmed. That's a case where, like, almost, even with that many Marines, ooh, the Mutas could pretty much almost take them on. That is a lot of Zerg just surrounding and tearing down this Terran, as Begbie has virtually no answer to this Zerg mass as it steps forward. 44 more Lings on the production tab. Well, that's what the Remax potential is of Begbie. Even the Mutas not even really doing anything because they don't have to. Over at the left side, we do have one single drop going to be coming down. 2 drones get cleaned up, but 11 SCVs, and now Spectrum is going to be able to mount the defense, and he's like, okay, you shut down mining at one base. He certainly doesn't want to oh, wow, that one Widow Mine. Kudos to him, 15 Ling kills. Again, not a game-winning move, but certainly something that is nice if your name is Begbie. He didn't get the base, though. That's the crucial part. The hatchery is still there. The drones can transfer back. You don't need necessarily all of the drones here. You could, of course, transfer them from whatever base he sent them to. But, yeah, keeping that 5th base up and running is indeed going to be important. Again, we kind of been looking around the map at how expired a lot of these mineral patches are. 3rd base is pretty much gone. 4th base is getting, you know, it's still hanging strong. Main or natural are basically empty now. As Mutas step forward, they do get pushed away by those Marines. Wow, 385 Lings and 37 Mutas have gone down throughout the course of this game. This is a huge flood of Zerg. The Widow Mines are not here to clean up the Lings and the Bane, so this is a split of a lot of Terran bio, but keep in mind this does allow Zerg to kind of divide and conquer. This is still plenty of bio to kind of stand against the defense or against the offense of Zerg, but this is way too much Zerg. GG gets called, and Spectrum will be able to take game number 1 of this best of 5. Spectrum, he is indeed proving he is the one to beat. Can anyone stop this guy? That's the question. Can anyone stop him? He's looking so solid in many ways. So, of course, you saw probably near the end at a couple of points he was floating money, but pretty much the only time he was really floating money, he was capped out. He didn't have any more supply to build. And he was just like, yeah, of course I'm floating. I don't have any money to spend, or I don't have any units to spend money on, so. That was a really good game. They're just chatting it up about it, which is, of course, one of those things that while we don't have the best players in the world right here at this LAN, we do have players who tend to know each other. They tend to chat a little bit more, and sometimes you can see it in the in-game chat. And, of course, I get the extra sight of it in this particular case. So really fun games for sure coming out of this LAN. Some unusual, some weird stuff. Like we actually saw a guy earlier who went hatch pool on a 4-player map, scouted his Protoss opponent was going a relatively, or actually it might have been a Terran opponent, He scouted his opponent was going relatively greedy, and he was like, okay, well, I'm going to cancel my pool, which is already constructed, and go 3 hatch kind of before pool. So, how about that? Almost 3 hatch before pool, but not quite. And the map is going to be Terraform. Terran players tend to like this map quite a bit. They tend to try to do some sneaky things. If you're a Kespa Terran, then you try to do 2 racks on this map because it's pretty good for 2 racksing. But these guys, we haven't really seen anyone 2 racks, so we could talk about, you know, dastardly things that they may or may not do. But in this case, they're not really doing anything dastardly. Everyone's kind of just playing straight up. We haven't seen that many cheesy games. I don't think we've... No. Blast proxy hatched. That was cheesy. That was not very manner of him, you could say. But certainly it has not been a wild game or a wild day where everything's just out of the box. But there have been some really solid games and a lot of fun to watch. So guys, do you hear it? Do you hear the violins of war playing? It's because these players are ready to go. And of course, we now have... Oh! Havoc! Look at that. All right, as the violins of war play us through to this next map. I did not time that out. You threw off my timing, but yeah, we'll see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I guess I actually have to turn up Havoc's mic so that he can speak.
Check.
But
check.
Look at that! Isn't this great? You remember last time we had 1 mic?
Yes, it was. My back was hurting from leaning so much.
Yeah, but now you can like move your mic. You can position it how you want. Anyways, guys, we're going to be getting into game number 2. We have in the bottom right-hand corner our blue Terran player. This is Begbie.
And spawning in the top left of Terraform, we have Spectrum. That is some very slick music.
Soundboard, man.
Oh my gosh.
I know. Like, I saw this. You know what I just did before this game?
What?
I talked about how there's been virtually no cheese in this tournament that I've
Really?
seen. Yeah.
It's mostly been coming from Begbie.
Really?
Yeah.
He just...
Who did he do it to? He did it to Blast.
See, I saw Blast proxy hatch.
Okay, so
but
it's fair.
Yeah, I don't know if it was against Begbie.
Oh my. Okay, he's looking.
Yeah.
He's looking.
Those Zerg players, they got to be more cautious.
I think Spectrum heard. He heard about this.
And he was like, all right, I'm safe. Yeah. I mean, he didn't hatch first, so he's got at least that going for him.
Yeah, he definitely heard. Blast was on Cactus Valley cross spawn, and Begbie took a bet, and he won with 2 racks right in the middle of the map.
Wow. Yeah, I did not see that one. So, yeah, I did not know. But apparently Begbie, he's the cheeser of the bunch.
Yep.
Everyone else is mannered gentlemen playing
so far
the macro
it's
games.
only been the 2 racks, so it's his safe go-to cheese. And so far, Spectrum doesn't see this until now.
Mm-hmm. And now, of course, he's going to be very sad. He's like, oh, hey, there's a bunker. There's a second bunker now going to be going down. I guess this makes sense, though, because Beast isn't here, Team Gravity Beast.
Yeah,
so no one's here to 2 racks. Someone's got to fill that spot.
Begbie does not mind at all. This has been his tournament debut, and he has no issue, definitely no issue being that guy. But
there's like a lot of like world-class Terran players who started out as just notorious cheesers, though.
Oh, yeah, we have...
Well, Flash and Maru, like
Flash,
both of them. Of course, Flash known so well in Brood War, and he started out as just a cheesy boy, and then Maru the same thing.
Yeah, that's how that micro develops.
And then they just end up being amazing at macro, and it's like, oh, okay, if you're really good at both, you can actually win a lot of games.
Now this is a lot of bunkers here, and even though with that faster pool, I don't think he'll be able to. He's going to lose a lot just to try and take this down.
Ooh, that surround is really nice, though. He might be able to trap some of the Marines before they get into the second bunker.
Nope,
Nope,
not
at all.
SCV's doing the repair, and these lings are going down. This queen's almost dead, by the way, and these bunkers are still being built.
They can't quite make it over to the second one without losing too much, but of course with 2 racks, the nice thing is you can constantly just produce those units, and you know it's not that hard to produce a couple of Marines here and there. Now Spectrum, his kind of one hope is to get these right in the perfect position, which he of course doesn't have these spine crawlers in the perfect position against this front bunker.
Yeah, these bunkers going down now. Getting that faster pool definitely did help. He saved the hatch. The queen survived. He bought some time to get these spine crawlers down, and now these bunkers just aren't close enough. And where's Begbie CC? Just starting, actually.
Yeah. Without canceling that hatch, it really does change things. He didn't even kill the queen, so it's only lings that have died.
Yeah, and of course, and Spectrum's going to head over to Begbie's natural now, see what he's got, and he's going to find out there's no base yet. He knows that he's pretty good. He's pretty safe. He can probably expand after this, honestly.
Just go for that third hatch relatively quickly.
And you can see him droning up right now.
He's going to add on those first couple of drones. Of course, what kind of damage is he looking to do? Does he expect to do anything, or is Spectrum fine without doing damage here?
Spectrum should feel totally fine. He knows those racks aren't coming. You can see that he spent so much on bunkers now, all that mineral dumping into bunkers. Those racks have so long until they actually land in that base, and the factory isn't shown up yet. He just got the refineries a while ago, so he's got like a solid 3 to 5 minutes before any sort of pressure comes back out, and this is just doing some damage. He's going to waste some minerals to try and repair these supply depots. 2 CCs coming down. Yeah,
exactly. Like, his, of course, answer is, oh, okay, I guess I just go 3 CC. You know, mules. Mules are a pretty good unit, I hear.
They are quite good, dropping that mule hammer. But it's a far cry from help.
It is a weird situation. Begbie literally has 0 army supply, and he has for quite some while. So it's like he's not doing terrible in the workers, but of course, like 2 of those workers are actually mining, and every other worker virtually is off the line, just trying to hold these supply depots.
Yeah, he's not getting any real minerals from this. Always having to repair, and that factory is only like half done now. These racks finally producing Marines, so he doesn't have to worry about the supply wall.
Oh man. This turned into such an awkward game. It was like the 2 racks, and then it's just, oh, he has virtually 0. He has literally 0 army units, and he can only repair that supply depot wall.
It was definitely a nice try. I'm glad he took the risk. I was kind of expecting an awkward map again, but this one made a little bit more sense, but just didn't work out. Since Spectrum just loves to play a little bit safer, especially hearing that Begbie did that against Blast. I'm not surprised that he went for that faster pool. And now with the Baneling nest and getting fast link speed, he's actually going to put on some pressure while getting his third.
That SCV manages to skip out, but of course you mentioned the third coming down from our Zerg player. While, well, yeah, there's 3 command centers, but none of them are really doing anything for our Terran player. He needs to hold this nearly perfectly, and that's not a good way to start it out, losing all of those supply depots. He's going to be supply blocked if he survives this attack. 2 SCVs go down, but there's 4 Marines inside of this bunker. SCV's body blocking and trying to repair this bunker to keep it alive. That's the one bastion of hope that Begbie has.
Yeah, very good blocking with those SCVs, but now there's nothing mining now, and it's just buying Spectrum more time to drone up this third, building 9 drones right now.
Ooh, baby. Hey, the SCV scouted it, though, so there's
go.
that. Is that actually what that SCV was for? He was like, how dead am I without using a scan?
He's the scout the impending doom.
Apparently. And now, of course, after this, you know, 500 minerals, or excuse me, 500 gas, a couple hundred minerals. He needs to rebuild that supply depot wall. A little bit supply blocked. Adding insult to injury almost for Begbie.
It's definitely going to be a long time before he can apply any pressure at this moment. Spectrum's already getting his macro hatch. I'm sure he's going to start aiming for that max out as soon as he fully saturates that third base. Getting his lair now, more drones, more lings.
This is not turning into the best game for Begbie. He's got a lot of things working against him. He's going for the clutch plays, the super fun Cloaked Banshee.
Yeah, hoping that hoping some way that maybe Spectrum might have forgot something, but it looks like that's not the case. Building 3 Spore Crawlers right now. Going into Spire, so he's going to go for that Muta play that he loves so much.
He has been doing quite a bit of Muta action in a couple of the games that we've seen against. I'm trying to remember if he did it against you, but certainly in the first game. So he has been playing Muta. Sometimes he goes like the 2-base Muta style, but then the nice thing about Spectrum is he always mixes it up. Like sometimes he'll go with like an earlier pool and then get really early Ling speed and try to cancel a CC.
Yeah,
and then
that's
he's
what
like,
happened to me.
That's where it was. It sounded familiar, and then it's like, now I'm going to go 2-base Muta. And it's like, all right, this guy.
That's the second time we faced each other in a tournament, and the first time the exact same thing happened, where second time he knew I was going to drop my CC on the ground on the natural, and he went for it. Got that fast Ling speed and made me cancel, put me so far behind.
Now, there are some opportunities for a Cloaked Banshee to still do some damage despite Spore Crawlers. But once you start mixing in the Overseers, it's like you have to wait for the Zerg to be massively out of position to really do anything.
All these Banshees can really do is space, hopefully get a few creep tumors, but that's about it.
Which is certainly not enough for Begbie at this point, considering he's down 27 workers, which maybe if he had a third base that was actually mining, he was doing like, triple SCV muling all 3 bases, but he's really working off of 2 bases here.
Yeah, he's right now just trying to get his production to where it should be on 3 bases, but he has no units to protect it if he were to land it. Oh, but he's going to try.
He's going to go for it. If he's able to do maybe something sneaky, like if he's able to kind of distract Spectrum with some Cloaked Banshee action, maybe he's got the opportunity to go for something, but 26 Lings on the production tab, 8 Mutas as well. That just means Banshees are that much harder to do anything.
It's those Mutas those Banshees are going to try to buy time for Begbie. The Mutas are going to do the exact same thing. If they're not defending, then they're attacking.
1 missile turret going to be coming down. This is over in the natural, I guess. And in the main, there's already a missile turret. Widow Mines as well. Now, Widow Mines we have seen. In the last game, there was some pretty spectacular Widow Mine hits between Begbie and Spectrum. I always want to call him Patreus because I see Pet.
I had that urge a few times as well.
I'm like, come on, man. You're not Patreus. And this is not WCS.
Then sometimes I just want to say Pet, but then I know that's not his preferred name, so.
Yeah.
Banshee
Bye, Banshee.
Yep.
Bye-bye. That was fun times. But of course,
it tried.
It tried. 4th base for the Zerg player as the 3rd base for our Terran gets established. But of course, this is not like 4-base Zerg production. This is 5-base Zerg production. Macro hatch, pretty good when you're going to go for those big Ling floods. Yeah,
and Spectrum's just producing mass Mutas right now. Getting his upgrades is 1/1 +1 attack for Mutas, and Begbie's so far behind right now. He needs to start adding on those extra racks now. Now that that 3rd is finally saturated, building a supply wall. Actually, a little supply blocked at the moment.
Always a bit tricky. Now, Spectrum. Oh, wow. Okay.
I was wondering, like, why? Do you feel safe right now? Because I would not feel safe right now. But he is going to go for the move out. And this is perfect timing for Spectrum.
What play? What star sense from this guy? There is, like, nothing easy that can be done by Begbie. Now, the nice thing, well, maybe this isn't nice, but he gets the kill on, I'm guessing that was a factory?
Yeah.
So he didn't, like, kill off a massive amount of SCVs or anything like that. He didn't further cripple Begbie, but, yeah, Begbie is in a weird situation.
Yeah, and these Mutas aren't really dying. They bought so much time. It sent Begbie's entire army back to his main when he wanted to do some pressure to that 4th.
And that's like an F2 stem. That's what it looks like.
A little bit. I see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those medvacs have some work cut out for them.
Yep. In the previous game, I believe it was the previous game, Begbie was in the weird situation as a Terran player where you lose all of your ground forces, so you've got like 12 Marines and 12 medevacs, and then it's okay. But this is not nearly enough medevacs to just be wantonly, F2 stemming.
No, they need to preserve that energy right now. And he's going to go try and pressure this 4th now, see what he can do. Laying out these Widow Mines ahead of time.
This leaves a big opportunity for those Lings in the top right-hand corner for potentially a bit of a counterattack as Spectrum going to be coming in. The splits don't really happen. There's a pretty good Widow Mine hit, but it's in the middle of a bunch of Marines as well. So this entire army gets wiped off the face of the map.
Oh, those Widow Mines just didn't do any work there. He split his army. Half of it was way too far out on creep. Like a little bit desperate right there.
Oh, my.
And now I think Spectrum knows what just happened and wants to go for the kill. 17 Banelings coming in.
Banelings, man. Pretty good against SCVs, I hear. So, of course, in this case, Begbie is trying to wonder which angle he's going to get hit from next. He's got the bunker here, but, of course, no units inside of it, and his medevac is going to kind of skirt by the actual forces of his opponent.
He's hoping to at least buy some time with this medevac, but it leaves him with no army at home, and I don't even think he has enough for this run by.
He's got a couple of Marines down in the south, but these SCVs could be massacred as 6 go down. And, oh, he turns a couple more. 5. Oh, wow. 11 SCVs in total.
And actually gets another 5 Marines.
Ooh. Oh, boy. That medevac in the top left-hand corner. Now going to be heading on in. Mutas, that's a huge Muta flock on the defense. Hive is also coming in. +2/+2 has not even finished for this Terran player as he drops the Mule Hammer, and that entire medevac gets cleaned up. 16 SCVs in total. I mean, he's got triple orbital, but at this point, I feel like he should probably have like 4 or 5 orbitals to like make up for the amount of SCVs that he's lost.
Spectrum starting that 3-3 now. I think he knows it's time. He's moving out now, and he wants to finish this.
Even getting Crackling, the adrenal glands upgrade just to make his lings that much more powerful. And he's got 81 workers, Spectrum, so maybe he can train out some of those drones, considering he is pretty much supply blocked by that 200, so he's pretty much maxed. And
yeah, going for that Ultralisk Den now and his 5th base. He's preparing for the late game, but he knows he doesn't have to do much.
Oh, these Banelings could have crashed upon those Marines. They're pretty much trapped up against the wall, and that's a lot of Widow Mines that are doing absolutely nothing. They're not burrowed. They can't get that fantastic splash damage. The entire army vaporized by Spectrum.
Yeah, there wasn't much of a conflict. And there's a hole in the wall right there. Going for these SCVs, going for these very few Marines that are left, and I don't think there's nothing that we can do right now.
Spectrum is just trashing Begbie in game number 2. The game comes down. GG, and Spectrum will take that 2nd match in this best of 5. That almost didn't look fair. Like, you had the opener, the 2 racks, which almost, it was like, oh, right, he's going to do something. And then so many bunkers.
You see a lot of pro players, honestly, if as soon as it fails, they just kind of GG from right there. But I know this is his, like, tournament career right now, so he took a chance, and I appreciate that. He tried.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a guy who is playing in a lot of tournaments, like maybe you can be like, all right, I can lose that one game, or you're confident that you can take the next game. But certainly in that situation, I agree with you. Staying in the game, fighting it out, taking the good fight, all that.
There's always that chance.
There's always that chance. You want to be the guy that like everyone talks about because you have that epic comeback, and it's like, he shouldn't have won this game, but then he did.
Yeah, Lobo just did the same thing in WCS today, so everyone's inspired.
I missed those games. I saw Hydra was up like 2-0, and then the next time I saw it, it was like 2-2, and I was like, what even happened? And then I was like, no worry, Hydra's going to get this foreign nerd. And then no.
I think everyone's still in shock there.
Yeah, that's crazy. I'm looking forward to the semis and the finals. By the way, I guess since we're here, whoop. Bam! You can't actually see it, but it's over there.
Whoa!
Hey, look at that.
Snap.
Yeah. Lower thirds have to be handled by basically a completely different computer.
Straighter, make sure I look handsome.
Yeah. All right, so anyways, guys, yep, they say they're ready, so we are going to be hitting it off into, well, the violence of war. I always forget to cue this on time, but...
Was there like a specific number you were waiting on?
No, but I don't have it timed out that well. All right, guys, we're going to be heading into game number 3. Is it going to be 3-0 from Spectrum?
Oh, was it Fear Dragon that gave you these?
Yeah, it was Fear Dragon.
What an awesome person.
He is very nice. Nice username, a.k.a. Joe. He was the one who made them. He's very talented.
Awesome.
But
appreciate you, Joe.
Yep, we do. However, in game number 3, in the top left-hand corner of Coda, this is our Blues Terran player. He is down 0-2. He needs your cheers. He needs your support. This is Begbie.
And spawning in the bottom right of Coda, wearing the red trunks, being the only GM here, hoping to take this tournament, we have Spectrum.
GLHF.
GL.
Yeah.
So no cheesy business this time.
You know, if you choose once and you lose, that's
Yeah.
like, do you choose again?
Well, it's the luck of the draw. I mean, maybe he's not expecting it this time. Meta.
Exactly.
Mind
Maybe he
games.
3 hatches before pool or something.
I mean, either way, Spectrum took the safe bet again, went for that pool first.
Yeah. He's I feel like in this situation where he is the GM amongst masters, he's the guy that everyone's kind of looking to. We don't have Blast, we don't have Xenocider. So it's like, who's going to take the tournament? Who's going to take home that $125 first place? Well, people are looking towards Spectrum. And so it's like, for him, he gains almost nothing by just like cheesing hard and like trying to win. So it's like, just play safe every game. Just play safe.
Yeah. And I like it. I appreciate it. Oh,
Do you?
6 lings.
Do you really?
I appreciate it. I appreciate that I just can't get around you and you're just going to beat me again.
Oh. I'm sorry, Havoc, that we're drudging up old memories, but
It's okay.
I mean, you get to see it happen to someone else now.
That's true. And I'm hoping to come back. I'm hoping.
So you're waiting on some matches?
Yes, after this one. Oh, I have to go against Blast after this.
Ooh.
So, and then after Blast, if I beat Blast, I'll be going against whoever loses this.
Yep. So CC on the high ground.
Yep.
This SCV, he's lonely down there.
What is it? He's tricking the Lings right now.
That's like the worst trick, where it's like, yeah, get a free SCV kill. Oh, 2 apparently. I didn't actually see where the other one went down. I guess it was the scouting one?
It was the scouting one.
Yeah, I feel like that's the worst trick. Like, the better trick is don't lose any SCVs and expand. But this is like, yeah, got him. Got him.
Trying those mind games. Maybe that SCV, maybe it was building another proxy racks. I gotta look.
He just like pulls his drone and drones and like scouts the map. He's like, all right, I'm safe.
I know where it is.
Oh, man.
But definitely going for the safe bet. Building a CC in base, unlike me.
Speaking of stupid proxies, though, there was this game where someone like proxied a factory there.
Lifted.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yep. But anyways, yeah. Away from stupid proxies, factory going to be coming down. Nothing too crazy. Like skip the Reaper, CC on the high ground, safe from both players.
Yeah. Begbie actually coming out a little bit ahead. I mean, contrary to what the supply says, but typically the Zerg would be fast expanding, like hoping to get that early drone count, but he's built these 6 Lings instead. Kind of useless right now.
Could have been 3 more drones.
Exactly. Unfortunately, Begbie also played a little safe by building a CC in his base, so. But he's going to be hoping to do some pressure right after this. So.
Kills an Overlord.
Very
annoying.
good.
Very annoying.
That Overlord had plans, and it was not to die right there.
It was not. Which actually, isn't that high ground? So it could have just
It
gone
was.
there.
It was on the move. It had to be right in the center.
So
So
too bad.
it missed its spot.
He obviously didn't go to like patience school or whatever it is, but Roach Warren, Evo Chamber, Lair, all going to be coming down, which I think it was Begbie who kind of alternated between like, am I going to use Roaches this game or Mutas? And you know he would do either one. So pretty standard Zerg stuff going to be coming out from Spectrum.
Yeah.
Begbie.
This seems to be Spectrum's like go-to build. At least it's probably the 3rd or 4th time I've seen this build now. Using the same like Sim City with that Roach Warren and Evolution Shaper.
Yeah.
Gonna get that +1 too, so probably gonna be able to do some damage right after this. Building 5 Roaches right now. Yeah, he's gonna. This is not reactive. This is him planning an attack.
Yep. There we go.
Yep.
Once you commit to the 8, it's such a bigger switch than just the 5. But certainly, yeah, those first 5, it's like, all right, what are you doing? Roach speed also going to be on the way. The creep spread is actually not looking too bad for Spectrum.
Yeah, and actually, I didn't even notice Begbie went for the armory, so this is actually a very strong 2-base pressure, but Roach is almost counter this completely.
It partially does come down to the splash damage, but we've seen Spectrum in the past to have some really good control of his roaches.
That's why this wall is so good. He just has to stay safe. He doesn't go for that fast third, and now he's able to punish this since these Marines and Hellbats can't really run.
And just a slow death march of these Marines and Hellbats. Banshee on the production tab, but I mean, we've all seen where it's like, yeah, Banshee's hard counter roaches, duh. And then it's like, yeah, but I mean, if you got one Banshee and like 12 roaches.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't really matter. Is there a bunker back home? Almost.
Not yet. I think this might be it. He's going to do too much damage with this. Oh, but then again, it's only like 5, 6, no, okay, 7, 8 roaches.
Keep in mind, there are more roaches on the production tab. Oh, was that a hold position or something? I'm not actually sure what was going on with those units, but the bunker is now finished. There's, of course, no Marauders, but the Hellbats they're going to be what tries to hold the line here for Spectrum.
And Spectrum is still building more roaches, waiting for that +1. Is he going to commit 12 roaches now? Definitely going to commit to this. This Banshee is going to do some work, but it's got its work cut out for him because there's about to be 12 roaches here.
If it was just this little amount of roaches that we see on screen right now, that might be okay, but we got 2 more going to be joining up. SCVs are soon going to be going down unless he really decides to just kill this bunker. I mean, he needs to kill the SCVs more so than the bunker at this point.
Yeah, exactly. These roaches are just dying one by one. No, not waiting for all of them to be there. And he had that surround around the bunker. Well, I don't know what those SCVs are doing now.
They are chilling out in the corner. They are scared, which means it gives more and more time for these additional reinforcement roaches to show up. Just as, well, Spectrum, he calls the all clear. He's like, I'm going to get my Spire. I'm going to pull back my roaches. And for the most part, he can contain from this position.
And he's got more roaches waiting. And these 2 Banshees are definitely going to deter this. He should be sending these roaches back now, but loses a few Hellions there.
When you're down, don't, like, kick yourself in the shins, which is what those 2 Hellions were. But on the other hand, Spectrum, he has been delaying all of his economy quite a bit, so he hasn't been soaring ahead behind this. He's been investing more in the tech, getting Ling speed at this point. So he's like, I know, the late Ling beta, Ling bling muta. I don't know why I said beta, but yeah.
Legacy beta, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Going for that faster Spire, but yeah, getting his Ling speed now because he definitely wants to go for that Ling bling muta play.
It's pretty good, I've heard. And Spectrum is, I guess, all right at it, as we did see in actually game number 1, which was more of a slugfest. It was one of those TVZs where it's like...
I enjoyed that one so much.
Oh, you did get to see that?
I got to see that one.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
It was.
And it was just like one of those classic games of Terran versus Zerg, and it just seems to be non-stop action. 3rd Command Center, of course, he only built this for the super optimal gas mining.
Yeah, of course.
Only.
4. Wow, 4 out of 3.
Yeah, exactly. It's like 4, so it's not even optimal.
And that last one didn't get to go. Okay.
Oh, he's just sad.
7 mutas on the way now, getting his upgrades.
Creep spread, man.
See, that's the best that the Banshees can do right now. Don't want to lose those, but definitely doing some spacing, clearing up these creep tumors. These mutas are on their way, though.
And, of course, the question is, are there any? No, there's no missile turrets.
No
I was going to say, are there enough missile turrets? But in this case, there are basically no missile turrets at all. And of course, this is the problem when mutas get into your mineral line when you have almost no defense. Marines now going to be stimming on forward. They're getting kind of blocked behind those Marauders. Big old Marauders blocking the way.
A little bit. Didn't lose too much though.
4 SCVs.
Not bad. And it has his 3rd.
Exactly.
Yeah, fairly established. Getting that bunker right now. I noticed that was an issue in his first game where there was just constant run-bys from Spectrum, just doing so much economic damage while Begbie was stuck on his 3-4 bases.
I actually didn't even realize that that Spectrum had gone all the way up to Hive.
That's Lair.
Look at that. Are you kidding me?
No, it's Lair.
Dude, you were right.
I was like the outside spines are twice as tall.
I've seen Hive so many times, but for some reason that looked Hive to me.
We just haven't seen it enough today.
That's actually true. I think only one Hive has been built.
Your mind will be blown when you see it.
That's true.
That's what it looks like.
I know, but at the same time, for some reason. Anyways, +1/+1. 14-minute +1/+1. That's pretty standard.
Is
That's
Begbie
exactly
on
what you
0-0
want.
still?
He was up until that point.
Oh, okay.
Like it
He
just
got it.
finished. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, making sure. So
Uh-huh.
I can imagine another slugfest going on.
Definitely the possibility. Widowmines burrowing on the front lines once again.
Begbie's always very careful with this, and I love it. He has better self-control than me. I just get too eager.
You do have aggressive tendencies. That's one
Not
way
just
to
in
put it.
StarCraft. Okay, and here we go, the engagement now.
They're going to step on forward. Of course, that was a really nice pre-split.
Yeah.
Of course, there was no commitment to the engagement from Spectrum, but
Yeah. And Spectrum knows he can buy himself some time. He has the Banelings, but he doesn't have the speed yet, and these roaches are going to be virtually useless soon, so he wants to start trading those out.
yep. And the army of Begbie is just looking for that opportune angle to engage. He doesn't want to commit too hard into anything where he's going to lose a lot. Much better defense this time.
Very good. Marauder in there, too.
Yeah. Just in case there's any silly roach run-bys. 5th base taking a bit of heat from this drop. Spectrum will be able to defend against that. Well, maybe not if his Lings actually don't attack.
All these workers and Lings just want to watch things happen.
Yeah, first the SCVs, then the Lings. Mutas actually have to show up to work and do what they need to do.
Now that harass needed to buy some time, make this army, this main army, be pushing the middle creep, but it wasn't in position, so he just kind of lost that drop. And now he's losing these Widow Mines for free. 3 Widow Mines each.
You need that splash damage to either deal with the Banelings or deal with the Mutalisks, either one. But in this case, Marines on the high ground. The pre-split is happening. He's starting to push away. Oh, he's actually going to be attacking the rocks with some of his units, and they're actually just going to take some damage if they're not careful. That was actually some pretty solid splitting. The problem, of course, is
there is too much Spectrum.
Exactly. He doesn't have anything to deal with the stuff after the Banelings get eliminated.
Yeah, now Spectrum's 50 up on supply, 18 more Lings, 2-2 on the way, and he's saturating that 5th. And where is Begbie's 4th? This was his issue in the first game. He did not have a 4th. He had to lift his main in order to start saturating that 4th. And that, once you hit a certain spot, once you hit that certain time in the game, you need to get that 4th. It's just, you're just going to keep trading, and eventually,
if those would have been Banelings.
Yes, exactly.
22 Ling kills on that one Widow Mine.
Hero Widow Mine.
Hero Widow Mine. Infestation Pit just completed, which means we could have Hive eventually on the way.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. But, maybe he wants to go, Infestors, which would be weird.
Maybe. I feel like Spectrum knows now that, yep, definitely getting that Hive, and you'll see the difference soon.
I feel like now I have to redeem myself because I actually do know what they look like.
I know
I was
you
just
do.
idiotic for a moment.
It's okay.
But yeah, I feel really dumb for that. But so we're coming up to the situation where once again Zerg is pushing towards that 80 worker count. So when these guys both get maxed out, if Begbie can get maxed out, which may not even be a problem here, as he's going to be pushing against these mutas. The Thor is now here to help deal with that cloud, and. Oh, those Banelings getting some solid hits on the Marines. Widowmines are way too far back. They're dealing with just a couple of Lings, which really aren't the main problem, as Banelings get split against really quite well. The Mutas are the cleanup crew, though, with the Roaches dealing that extra bit of damage, and that splash, if there was anything to finish these Mutas off, would be fantastic.
That was almost perfect for Begbie, but sadly it just wasn't enough. If those Widowmines just did a little more, and if some of them just was able to fire.
Yeah. That was so close to being a nearly flawless defense. Like if the splits would have been back towards the mines or something like that. And now, as you mentioned, 4th base is here. It's not an orbital. It's not a planetary. It's not in position to actually start harvesting from. On top of that, if he wants to take the far corner base, he's even got that little bit of creep all over it.
Yeah, and it's definitely a lot better than before. He did not have a 4th at all for the longest time. But we have something differently as well from Spectrum. Finally, Hive. That's a Hive, right? Yeah, that's
that's a layer. Oh, and not even the medevac drop will be able to really do anything.
Boost dying at the worst time.
Wow.
And that drop could have seen that there was a Hive and that there's an Ultralisk Den on the way.
He would like to know that.
Yep, and you can see now he's still building way too many Marines. He's going to... Spectrum is purposely waiting on that extra 40 supply that he has open for just to build Ultralisk, and once he has those, there's not going to be any real hard counter from Begbie.
Like, ordinarily, when you see Bio beat Ultralisks, it's like some of the best Terran players in the world, and they're like fantastically stutter-stepping with 2,000 Marauders, and they've got 3-3, and it's like 2,000 Marauders. Like, you need a lot of Marauders, but then you see, yeah, again, all of those Marines, just infinite Marines on the production tab.
You can have like 100 Marines, and it will still take forever to kill an Ultralisk.
Oh, man.
They tickle it.
They do. Once we, of course, get all of those lovely Ultralisk upgrades on the way, they'll become that much more difficult to kill. Baneling's cleaning up a couple of Marines. Just the beginnings of those engagements. And, ooh, this base would love to be established, but these Mutas, they got the call. Their Overlord buddy phoned them in.
Yeah, and these 5 Marines aren't going to stop it. Spectrum's going to try to focus this down, and he will take down this CC. Now, what does Begbie have now? He doesn't have a 4th anywhere else. He's going to have to lift his main again.
He is actually sitting on 90 army supply, which would be all right, but he just lost a lot of it to the Mutalisks, or to the Widow Mines, Banelings. And suddenly these Ultralisks have, again, almost no counter at all. Marine's going to be able to chew through a couple of the Ultralisks with some pretty nice medevac for the healing support.
That was actually fairly efficient for Begbie. But,
that was, surprisingly.
The production for Spectrum is just too high. Already remaxing, getting that extra Muta, extra Ling, extra Bling, and a few more Ultras.
Just one of almost everything. Muta's now going to get cleared out of the sky if they try to fight against these Marines, and
that was definitely an accident.
That was certainly a mistake. I don't know if it's a case of like, oh, I just didn't see it, or if it's a case of, I have this game, I don't care. And that's certainly a good way to throw games, is where you feel like you're in control and you've got everything down, and then you just make one too many mistakes.
Lose, except if I jump on these Widow Mines without an Overseer.
Something like that. Ultralisk's going to be carving the way forward. Of course, getting the Banelings to the front line is pretty important in dealing with a lot of those Marines, but he can also just clean house if he really wants to. And now a couple of Marauders are still left on the low ground, but this Thor is really the only powerhouse unit that stands against the Ultralisks.
He gets focused down. 90 supply lead right now, and Spectrum is already on his infrastructure. So many medvacs, wow.
Terran reinforcements. That is an absurd number of medevacs.
Oh my.
I can't even count that high. It's a layer.
If only he can micro one Marauder.
Infinitely. We do actually have an SC2HL video with some sick Marauder micro, but into the Widow, or into this SCV line go all of these Ultralisks, and those medevacs are boosting to nowhere.
They are healing every SCV they can.
Wow. That is almost one medevac for one SCV, and I'm guessing, I actually can't see where Begbie is, but I'm guessing he's just like, head in his hand, GG out, and that will indeed do it for Begbie. 3-0 by Spectrum.
Yep.
Spectrum. It's a bit unfortunate. You never want to see a 3-0. Like, the player always wants to get the 3-0, but, you know, we don't want to ever see a 3-0.
No. It's Spectrum, man. Only GM here, and definitely has some notable games. Like, he told me, he was just talking to me, he took out Jim Rising, and, like, Copa America, like how well he does in there. So
that is definitely a much bigger league than something we've got here, and with much better opponents. Jim Rising, certainly one of those notable names in the North American scene.
Spectrum's definitely very seasoned. Definitely needs to go out to more of these tournaments. Definitely enjoying him.
So we're certainly glad to have him here. It looks like you are going to be up versus the winner of Blast in July, Terran. You said Blast already won that?
No, I'm not. I know they started when I left, so they might be done now. So I'm actually going to go and check.
All right. Well, Havoc, it was lovely having you here. Thank you for joining me.
And maybe later, if I lose, we'll see.
Which you won't. We'll see you in the finals.
All right. Thank you.
All right,
Have
bye.
fun.